Hello and welcome to Noninkables. We are on episode number 5 of season 2. It was another very good week, I would say, for the team, not even just for me. This weekend, we went to, so Brian and I went to 2 set champs in one day. That was crazy. We'll talk about that. Gary went to 2 set champs spread over 2 days, got scars at both. Tyler got a scar and a championship mat. Brian got a scar, I got a scar, and a runner-up mat. Not at the same competition that Tyler was at. So, yeah. Oh, also exciting. If you've been following the podcast for a while, you know that I've been waiting to get this D20 that we bought in August. And like the person we were buying it from kind of went a little MIA and then like had a lot of family stuff. And then it was just like trying to coordinate getting the cards from him. And like we were supposed to meet at some like casino because he was playing mahjong there, and then I totally forgot about it. And then like on further reflection, I was like, this doesn't seem very safe either. But we saw him on Sunday, and he gave us our D23 cards, although it was not what I expected. So I expected to get like the D23 like sealed in like the original packaging, unopened. What we got instead were all the cards, but they were graded. And so he basically was like, yeah, I could either give you these, or the other option would be to give you a sealed pack, but it like smelled like smoke. And I was like, oh no, I prefer the grading because you've put money into this. And now I have graded cards because I don't think I would ever pay to do it myself. And so if you guys haven't seen, there's the Vanellope, that's a 10. There is the Ursula, 2-drop Ursula. She's so pretty. I feel like this camera is not doing her any justice. I also can't get it in friggin' focus. She's a 10. Oswald is a 10. Bruno is a 10. The only 9 is the Cinderella Stout-Hearted. And then there's a Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor, who's also a 10. So that's exciting. We finally got our stuff after waiting for months and months. So since August. This is very, very exciting. And then we obviously have our scar cards that Brian and I won. And then the mats. So now we have 3 scars and 2 mats. They're both runner-up mats, but we're gonna go to more. And luckily, like, I don't know, I feel like maybe I don't know if I'm a very optimistic person or I'm just very lucky. I feel like I'm just very lucky because originally I was probably only going to be able to go to like 2, maybe 3 set champs, but things kind of worked out, and now I'm going to be able to go to like 7, which is very exciting. And I was like, oh, we could get like a play set of scars and we could maybe win more scars and sell them. And, so it's like very exciting that I get to go to more than I thought I could initially go to. Okay, so this past week I've been in Vegas visiting my parents because it's like this coming week is Chinese New Year, but I had more time last week. So I was like, oh, I'll just come for like a week and hang out. And I was pretty much playing around with this red, yellow Mufasa deck that I found on Dreamborn. And the person who published it, he had taken it to round 5 of LCQ. So it did pretty well. And so I've been playing that, and it was doing like okay on ranked and okay in casual. But then I think once I got past like when I played against people like 1200, 1300, it was like okay. Even low 1400s, it was okay. But I think like once you get into like upper 1400s, people see the cards and they're like, oh, I know what kind of deck this is. And then the deck sucks after that. Once they figure out how to play against it, the deck sucks, which is unfortunate, but because I was having a lot of fun. And even leading up to Sunday, I was still unsure of whether or not I was going to play the Mufasa deck or Green Steel. So I got back from Vegas on Saturday, and then Sunday I had to work in the morning. And it's kind of like one of those things where if I finish early, I can just leave. I don't have to wait around. And so I thought that there were 2 locals going on that day for set champs. So there's Games of Concord, which was starting at 11 a.m. And then the other one was Fanimich, which was starting at 2 p.m. So I thought I was probably only going to be able to go to Fanimich, and like I wouldn't finish with work in time to go to Games of Concord. And then most of the people in our locals were all going to go to Games of Concord because their pricing was so much better. So the pricing at Games of Concord, first of all, it costs $30, and you get 2 packs on entry, and then on entry 3 packs are put into the prize pool, and then that's split between the top 8, I think. And then Fanimich, which is literally like, I don't know, a 1-minute car ride away, like walkable away, was doing theirs at 2 p.m. and it was $40 and they were charging through Melee, whereas Games of Concord was doing it like once you get there. And so it was more like $44 with the fees on Melee. And then you would get, we ended up getting like a booster pack per round win, but I think on their Melee site, it just said like the top cut of in terms of mats and cards, right? So top 8 gets the cards, top 2 get the mats. And so originally, when I had signed up for Fanimich, there was only 7 people, and I was like, "Oh, this is great. I'll just go to Fanimich. I'll be the 8th person. I'll get a scar no matter what, and I'll play my silly Mufasa deck." But then, like, as it got closer and closer to Sunday, more people signed up. And then, like, the night before, I looked at our list, and I was like, "Oh, our list is pretty short. I'll probably be done with work pretty fast." And so I will make it to Games of Concord. So I dropped from Fanimich and then I signed up for Games of Concord. And like most of our locals are going there. Tyler was going, Brian was going, Mike Wally, Kevin, like basically a lot of people. And so finished up with work. Last minute decided I'm going to play. I was like, okay, if I'm going to Games of Concord, like it's way more people, I should just play Green Steel. So I brought Green Steel, not the version I took to Games at Berkeley, not the version I took to VPC, but that like experimental-y version I was working on. It was kind of like a mix of the two. So I brought that. Brian also brought Green Steel, but different from my Green Steel. And then Tyler also brought Green Steel, but different from both of our Green Steel. So we were all technically all on the same deck, but like a difference of like maybe 4 to 5 cards between the decks. And then Gary was like, "Oh, well, if you are all going to Games of Concord, I'm going to go to Fanimich so we don't have any team kills." And Gary had played the day before at Forbidden Path up in Sacramento and had gotten, I think, 7th there. And he played Red Blue, which is what he played. He's been playing this set, and which is what he played at, where is the one? Gold Star. I was like, where are the other competition? Gold Star up in Sacramento. So he took that to Forbidden Path, got 7th, and then was going to take that on Sunday to Fanimich. So by the time I got to Games of Concord at 11, there were 19 people for Games of Concord and like 11 people signed up for Fanimich. And my plan was, I was like, okay, if I do really, really well at Games of Concord, like if I just keep winning and I'm undefeated, maybe I can like ID the last 2 rounds and then just like sneak over to Fanimich and play real quick. At the timing would have never worked, but I think in my silly brain, I was like, maybe it could work. We could play both. And that would have, like, maybe that would have worked if it was just 8 people and then they wouldn't have top cut, but it ended up being more, so it didn't work. So we started playing at Games Concord. First round, I matched into Purple Steel with Studded, and that's the Melee name. And I lost. So the first game, I pretty much just got to 9 lore. And then the second game, it was like pretty close. And it's at 15. And then kind of lost control. And then they won. And we were playing best of 3. So I got O2'd in my first round. Not great. Yeah. So sad. And then I think Brian also lost in his first round. I don't know if he was 1-2 or O2'd. And then round 2, I matched against Red Blue, which like normally is an okay matchup for me, but I didn't see any of my merfolk, my aggressively questing cards, and I feel like they saw a lot of their cards. So like the first game I was on the draw and I got to 17 lore and they were only at 6, and then Red Blue did Red Blue things and I lost. The second game I was on the play and I won 16-2. The third game, it was like 8-20 in the end. And I know in one of the game, oh no, that was, I'm going to get it confused. Okay, so after that, lost 2 rounds, right? And it was going to be 5 rounds because it was 19 people. And at that time, I think it was like 1 p.m. And I was like, "Hey, Brian, how are you doing?" He's like, "I lost too." And I was like, "Do you want to just leave and go to Phantom?" And he was like, "Sure." So we dropped from Games Conquered and just cut our losses and went to Phantom, which was a great idea because like at Games Conquered, my deck was not doing the deck things. Like I never saw Shift Diablo. I would draw like only like steel cards and no green cards, or like only songs or no songs, you know? It was like not decking. And so we went to Phantom. It was still like an hour before they started. I bought some new sleeves. I re-sleeved my entire deck. I shuffled. And then we started playing at Phantom. And then my deck started decking. So the coolest thing, so at Phantom, my first game when we matched up, I was at table 1 and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna fall from here. Like maybe I should take a picture at table 1 while I'm at table 1. Spoiler alert, I was at table 1 the whole time. It was so cool. And I was like, is this what the people who are really good feel like? Because that's awesome. I didn't have to move my stuff. Like I packed up my stuff after round 1 and was like ready to move. And I didn't have to move anything. It was great. Okay, so first round I matched into Jared, who was on green, purple. First game I was on the play and I won. Like he only got to 4. Second game I was on the draw and I won. He only got to 10. And my deck was doing like Shift Diablo, Calhoun, Ursula 3, which stuck, you know, stuff like that. It was great. I was like, oh, my deck is so good. It loves me. Second round, I matched into Zach, who is a listener. Hi, Zach. And he was playing like a blue steel with Alice and Ward, kind of like the one John played at Battle of the Bay, but it didn't have, I think, Hiram and Popsicles. And the first game, I was on the play and I lost. I was doing such silly things like, I think I like attacked something with my Diablo, but my Diablo was in a cove, so it survived, but it had 2 damage. Even though, like, I think I already saw his hand, so I knew he could take out my cove and then my Diablo would die. And then I did it like again with another cove in Ursula 3, which was just so dumb. My brain was not working. And I was like, so after that game, I kind of had to like reset, take a deep breath and be like, okay, you need to actually use your brain, think before you ink, and not just do dumb things and lose because you are misplaying a lot. So second game, I was on play again because I lost. And I picked up my 7 cards and they were all songs. So I took a picture of it because I was like, what? I was like, this is crazy. What are the chances to get all songs? And so obviously I mulliganed all 7 and my hand after that was much better. I think I mulliganed into like Diablo Shift with Cove. It was crazy. And so that game I won. He got to 9. And then the last game I was on the draw. And we were kind of like neck and neck. So it's like he had 1 lore, and then went to 5. I think in that game I played 3 Cursed Merfolk. I'm pretty sure I did because I also took a picture of that. I was able to put 3 Cursed Merfolk out. So I quested to 5, I think with the Diablo and maybe 2 Merfolk or something like that. And then he was at 4, I was at 9, he was at 8, and it was like kind of like there until it was like 15 versus 13. And then I was able to control and win. Like discard his hand, control the board. That part was also like a little hard because like everyone else had finished and so they were waiting, and that always stresses me out when people are watching, especially when it's like my teammates and I'm like, they're just judging what I'm playing. Round 3, I matched into Gary. He was on his red-blue deck and his deck was not decking. So first game I was on the play. I quested to 10 before he got any lore. And that whole first game, he did not see any Hirams and he did not see any Popsicles, which is crazy. So he had like a Tamatoa out, no items to retrieve. He had a Hiram out, no items to get rid of, which those cards are not so good when you don't have that item. The second game I was on the draw and I was able to win that 17 or 20 to 4. And I think in one of the games my deck was doing all the things I needed to do. So there was one turn where he had a Maui shark out and I think I already had 3 characters, so I had to play 2 more characters. So I played a Prince John and I played a Go-Go, no effect, so that I could sing Strength of Raging Fire to kill the Maui shark. And then he played another Maui shark the next turn, and I think like a Hiram. And so I ended up like drawing, I think I had a Diablo out that was surviving, and so I ended up being able to draw another strength to get rid of the shark, and then a We Don't Talk About Bruno, which bounced the Hiram back, and then it discarded Be Prepared, which would have ruined me. So my deck was really, really decking, and Gary's deck was really not decking. It was pretty bad. And so Phantom ended up being, let me see, how many total people were at Phantom? It wasn't very many. It was definitely less than Kings of Concord. Let's see. So Phantom ended up being 14 people, and Brian and I were the only ones who came over from Games of Concord. And so it was only 4 rounds. So then the last round, I ID'd with Kenneth, aka Obsolete. We rolled the dice to see who would win game 2, and he ended up winning the die roll there. And so prior to that, I was top seed, and then after that, I was second seed. And then Gary unfortunately matched up into Brian. So we were only cutting to the top 4. And so whoever won that match would make it into the top 4, and the other person would be out essentially. And Gary's deck continued to not do its thing and just totally be against him. And so Brian won that match. I think Brian also played pretty well. And afterwards I was talking to Gary about it, and he's like, I don't know, because I don't think I misplayed. And I was like, I don't think you misplayed either. I think your deck just didn't give you any cards that would have helped. It just gave you stupid stuff. And so Gary ended up placing 5th, and then Brian was in the top 4. And so then I think I wrote it down as quarterfinals, but really semifinals, because it was only top 4. I matched against Zach again, the same person I played in round 2? Yeah. And so I was the higher seed. I got to go first. First game, I won pretty handily. Second game, I was on the draw, and it was real. I think his deck bricked. I think I wrote no 1 or 2 drop, and I don't know if it was me that didn't have the 1 or 2 drop or him that didn't have the 1 or 2 drop, but I think it was him that didn't have the 1 or 2 drop. So I had at least a 1 drop, which is my goal every single time. Like when I was at Games of Concord, my deck was like, oh, you want a 1 drop? Too bad. You wanted 2 drop? Too bad. Whereas at Phantom, my deck was like, here, you want a Diablo Shift? And I was like, yes, please, thank you. So I ended up winning that one, and then Ryan ended up playing Kenneth, and Kenneth ended up winning. So then I played Kenneth in the finals. Kenneth was on red, purple, and he beat me pretty easily. Part of it was, so poor Kenneth, I think out of all the games he played, so he played 3 rounds of Swiss, because we ID'd the last one, and then he played the 2 rounds in the top cut. Out of those 5 rounds, 4 of them were green steel. So he played Brian on green steel, he played me on green steel, he played Brian again on 2 green steel, he played Dorian, who was also on green steel, and then I think the other one was a mirror. And then interestingly, so he had been, I don't know what the official rules are. I think the official rules for deciding who goes first is whoever's first seed going into like top cut. So technically Kenneth was ahead of me in top cut because of that die roll we had at the very end. But now that I like after the fact, looking through Melee, like if you look at the standings after the top 4 matches, I was technically top seed. So my game record was 9-2, so I only had 2 losses, versus his game record was 9-3. So maybe I should have gone first, although I don't think it would have helped, because I lost pretty badly on both the play and the draw. I was like, I don't remember how to play against red purple. I think I need merfolks, but I didn't see any of them until the end when they were useless. And so he ended up winning the championship match. Congrats. On red purple, he was playing like libraries, Tremaines, I think Ed's deck probably. And then I won the runner-up mats. Now we have 2 mats. And then following back up at Games of Concord, where Tyler was still playing, he went, I think, undefeated through Swiss, and ended up winning there. So all of us got a scar, which was awesome. And then for Phantom, the top cut had because Brian placed 4th place, he technically got a card, and he also got like $20 store credit. And then because I was second, I got the Math the card and then $30 store credit. I think first place got like $40 store credit. And so I would say the pricing, not great for the prices, I think, compared to the other places. And then this coming weekend, on Saturday, I'm going to be playing at King Kong, which we played at, I think, last set, or maybe the set before, and they were super well run. I've donated a lot of bulk cards there. I think they probably have too many bulk cards because I donated too many. And I think at King Kong, there tends to be more, I would say, homebrew decks, more fun decks, I suppose, maybe a little bit more aggro. Whereas like when we played in Berkeley, it was like a lot of red, blue, like so much red, blue, not very much green, purple. a little bit of Amber Steel, but like most like Games of Berkeley was mostly red blue. Victory Point was like red blue and red purple. And then Games of Concord, weirdly, everybody was on Amber Steel. Like people who normally play red blue or red purple were on Amber Steel. It was so much Amber Steel. It was crazy. And then Phantom Itch was like a mix of things. I think there were like 3 red blue decks. Nope, that's a lie. That was a Games of Concord. I think Phantom Itch had maybe 1 or 2 red blue decks, a little bit of red purple. We saw Romeo, who we haven't seen for, I don't know, I feel like 3 sets now, probably since set 3 when I played him in the finals at Games of Martinez. So like one of my first videos ever. He was the person I played in the finals. So we saw him, which was cool because I was like, I haven't seen you forever. I didn't even know you were still playing this game. I was like, do you even have new cards? Is your deck just like a set 3 deck? And he's like, no, I have new cards. And so he was there, and then Elias, who always plays like some sort of Mufasa deck, was there. And so like some of I guess people we played last year a bunch in the beginning came back, and there was like a Blurple deck, but that's Adam, and he always plays Blurple because he's like a huge Elsa fan, and Elsa and Anna are in Blurple, so he's always playing that. And then so I'm excited for Saturday will be King Kong, so I think a pretty diverse meta. And then Sunday will be Destine in Alameda, which we played at last set, and it was like a mix of people from like Berkeley and like more South Bay. So I'm not sure what the meta will be there, but probably pretty varied. And then the weekend after, I will be able to play in the NorCal TCG set champs for the first time ever. So every single time they've had a set champs, I've always had like a work conflict. And this time somebody was able to pick up my shift and I can actually play there, which I'm very excited about because they rent out like the hall that's downstairs. So it's like not in the store. So it's not as cramped and the pricing is always really good. So that will be fun. The problem is, what deck will I play? So today I've been testing different things. So far we've been playing like basically the Curse Merfolk version. And I tried Zan's version. I didn't like the Hypnotize when I played it at VPC. And so then I was playing like a version with. So here's the problem. Like if you have 5-cost characters like Beast, then you can play like We Don't Talk About Bruno because Beast can sing. Otherwise, hard casting is kind of expensive. However, like the version Tyler played at Games of Conquer didn't even have Beast. He just went Beast completely. And then like Brian was playing a version that had like more honey lemons, and I was playing no honey lemons. And so we're all kind of testing to see what would be good. And I feel like I think Brian's testing like a Robin Hood shift line thing, and then maybe with like Imperial Bow because Robin Hood's a hero and Calhoun's a hero. And then your Calhoun could take out like a genie or a Maui shark, which is pretty cool because the bow gives you both evasive and +2. And I was testing out the Pegasus shift line because I was like, oh, if I have a Pegasus shift line, then Pegasus can sing We Don't Talk About Bruno on like turn 3, which I thought would be cool. And then I forgot to put Bruno in the deck, so it didn't test very well. And then I was looking at other bodyguards. So currently, like Pluto's in the deck, and he's a 5/5 unless he gets injured, which is like super easy, and especially if you're playing against Steel. And so I was like, oh, what if I just put a different big butt? So I was looking at Hey, who's a 4/5, 5-cost, but inkable, and Quest for 2. And then I was also looking at Chen Po, who is like the biggest butt, 4/7. I was just looking at Hercules, who's like a 6/5, but he also has resist and also Quest for 2. And then we were also talking about adding back Cricky into the deck because I definitely missed Cricky because libraries are so hard to deal with because everybody in the green steel deck has like tiny little butts. They don't attack for very much. And then it's not running like Zeus. So you basically have to run like 4 characters to take out 1 library, which I did do one of the games I was playing. And I was like, oh, I don't think I should have done that. I think I should have just ignored the library and quested because I was so far ahead. And so it's kind of figuring out that stuff. I also played against a version today that was running Kick Cloud Kicker. In case you don't have a song to get rid of Diablo, you could just bounce it. You could also just bounce Ursula. You could also use your muses to bounce your own Kick Cloud Kicker and then use that to bounce something else. And then he could sing and then get bounced back with muses. It's like a whole cycle thing. So that is what I will be working on this week in terms of prep for set champs. The goal is to win a championship mat, obviously, but in general, just more practice I can be consistently good. Because I feel like set 3 was the first set championships, right? I won that one championship at Games of Martinez and then totally forgot how to play Lorcana, period, for the next, I think, 2 set champs we went to. Set 4, Ursula's Return, I think I made it to top 8 3 times. I don't know how many, probably like 5 or something. And then I got knocked out of top 8 twice by Tyler, once by Kurt. And then last set, Mirabelle, I won 1. And I think that was it. And then, so this set so far, doing better. So I won 2 runner-up mats and out of, oh no, yeah, 2 runner-up mats and 3 cards. I forgot about VPC because they didn't have their stuff, so I didn't actually get a card from them yet. So technically I've won 3 cards. And oh, so technically we already have a play set of scars. Wow. Okay, cool. That's so exciting. So everything else is gravy. Fantastic. Wow. I forgot about that card I won. So yeah, the goal is to just do consistently well to prove to myself that it's not a fluke, that I am actually getting better at the game. And I think there will be more, every week I've been like, I think there will be more content, and then there isn't. So sorry, guys. But this week I really do think there's going to be more content because, one, they talked a lot about new stuff for the new set coming out. So there's like the double ink thing. So they showed like a Lady in the Tramp card and a Belle card that have double ink. And then there's like a new ability called Vanish. So I'm very interested in how those pan out. I am also getting Chinese first chapter cards today in the mail, which I will be opening, and you guys will all be privy to how bad my Chinese is. I haven't gone to Chinese school since high school. I do Duolingo once in a while, but I feel like I'm going to be looking up a lot of words. But I'm very interested to see what all the characters are called in Chinese. And then I still have some first chapter boxes left to unbox. I did record one unboxing, but I think the audio was off, and then I just did the rest of that case as shorts. I did open an Enchanted Hades, which is pretty exciting. And still trying to figure out how to ensure, I mean, I don't think it's hard, but to ensure the mail for more so that I can sell the enchanted cards. Otherwise, I'm just waiting for DLCs to trade them. And I feel like the trade value is never that great with the stores. So I would prefer to sell it to a local or sell it on our TCG Player store. And so plans are to open that Chinese set. We'll look through the new cards. Those are very, very interesting. I did not buy any Japanese cards. So they are available online, but they're more, I would say probably $10 more than the Chinese sets. And I can't read Japanese, so I'm less interested in them. I think for English speaking people, Japanese seems to be the cooler of the two for whatever reason. Good marketing, I suppose. But for me personally, I prefer the Chinese cards because I can actually read them, and I feel like I'm practicing my Chinese, which I feel like would make my dad very happy. So yeah, that is the plan for this week. Hopefully we do well again this weekend at Set Champs, and I will keep you guys updated. As always, check out our TCG Player Pro store. There will be a link in the description box. I have put up a bunch of, I think set 4 cards was the most recent update, a bunch of set 4 cards. And then also we're going to start selling our promo cards like the Baymax and the Cusco that we got from, what is it called? LCQ. So that is it for me for this podcast. As always, thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe. What else do they say? Ring the bell, give a like, tell your friends about it. And I will see you guys at the next Set Champs. And as always, keep shuffling, and hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-inkables like me. All right, bye.